I have just 75 words to tell you why you'll enjoy Faye's Amulet and Death's Talisman, the first two books in the Lady of Death series from Three Ravens Publishing. Wait, how can I convey that much intrigue, magic, and swagger in 75 words? What about the consigliere, the creatures, the victims, that crazy dragon skull? Just 75 words? Find the Lady of Death books by J.F. Posthumous, narrated by Terry K. Job, on Amazon.
Yeah, it helps find mute the mic, huh? All right. So time for a new weekly update. Just finished reading through listening through a couple of different books. It's not like I actually have time to sit down and read, so I listen to audiobooks most of the time while doing like other things like cutting the grass and doing the dishes and crap like that, just because I can consume when I just don't want to think or my head hurts too much to think, and I can just disappear for a little while. The first one that was given to me is, it's not going to focus. There we go. So I don't remember if John and Emily sent this to me or if they gave it to me at DragonCon last year, but this is 47 hours worth of listening. Oh my dear God, this thing's a monster. Over 1,000 pages with the actual book itself. This thing's a tome. The movie aside and anything else, just as a standalone science fiction novel, this is a damn good book. The story is good and compelling. I mean, honestly, the way that I felt about it was like it could have been broken up into 3 books originally, but this was written late 70s, early 80s. I think it was published in 81 originally. Yeah, 47 hours worth of audio on this thing. And it's a radio play. Yes, there was a movie back in the 90s with, oh crap, John Travolta and Forrest Whitaker. It was horrible. I mean, they did not follow the original. They kind of used this as a guide, but that was about it. It was bad. And I haven't gone back to watch it just for a refresh because I saw it like way back when. And it wasn't good then. And after reading the book listening through the book, it's probably going to be absolutely horrible if I go back and try to watch the movie, which I'm going to. I think it was on Amazon, and we've got it on Amazon Prime, so I'm just going to jump on there and watch it. But yeah, 47 hours worth of good science fiction listening. Now, like I said, this thing to me, it felt like 3 books in one. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but back in the day, late 70s, early 80s, I think it was 81 when it was published. That was, the thing back then. They wanted big, chunky books. But it's like you got the first section where the main hero, Johnny Goodboy Tyler and all that, he basically saves the human race from the evil cyclos that had overran man. And, they do the thing, kill off the bad guys. And then the next part is basically the rebuild, the Reconstruction era after the war. And it goes through a bunch of stuff. They're reclaiming the planet. They're figuring out more of the human history that they lost over the last 1,000 years. And then the last part is basically mankind getting out into the greater universe, learning what all else is out there. And it's a really good science fiction book. Everything else aside, if I knew nothing else, just by the fiction alone, it's a good read. It's well worth the time spent. Well worth the money spent. Because I think the audio was only like $25 for 47 hours, so you can't really beat that one. Yeah. um, I deny there was a movie. Okay, I got you. I got you, Maya. So yeah, if you're looking for something different that's on an epic scale, I mean, the world building alone is something as a writer to pay attention to. I mean, his world building went so in depth on all these different races and stuff like that, but it wasn't done in such a way that it was info dumps. It was done during the storytelling, and the audio did have the advantage of it was done as a radio play. So you had a whole slew of narrators put together in there, acting and all that. The guy that actually voiced Robin in Teen Titans is the voice for Johnny Goodboy Tyler, which I didn't even catch until I was halfway through the book, and their kids were like, "Hey, that's Robin!" And we looked it up, and sure enough, it was. I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. The next one that I finished on audio, most everybody that knows me knows I am a Conan freak. I love everything that Robert Howard ever wrote. I read through pretty much every Lespragde and Lynn Carter version of Conan that was out there. Let's see. So just because I'm going to get to see Steve Sterling this year at Dragon Con, I figured I'd pick up one of his books and take a look at it. So I grabbed this one, Blood of the Serpent. It was an interesting read through. I mean, it was pulling on all the classic bits and pieces that Howard had laid out when it come to being in like the northern Egypt area along the Styx, west of the Black River. And it ties into, well, hold on, let me grab it. Where the hell did it go? There it is. So this novel that Sterling had come up with leads up to Red Nails. Yeah, it's right there. That Howard wrote, which this was actually 3 different stories put together in this, because it's 3 different stories leading up to Red Nails, which takes place in this dead, deserted city that had been abandoned ages ago, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But Blood and the Serpent leads right up to this tale, with Conan chasing Valeria off into the nothing and trying to save her from being killed by this noble lord who she had crotch stabbed his brother because the dude tried to rape her, and she left him for dead and then had to flee. Damn good book. I mean, everything that Howard ever created, plus a little bit of reworking into today's storytelling style and to capture some of today's readers. But he absolutely pulled off a Howard novel. I mean, I've read Conan from Robert Jordan and Paul Anderson and a couple others. That Lynn Carter, Lespragde, Sterling did it damn good justice. I mean, you will not be disappointed if you're a sword and sorcery Conan fan. If you get this book, the narrator on this did really good. It sucks you in, and you just don't want to let go of it. Let's see here. Will it switch if I just click it? No, it will not. Okay, so let me switch this. So right after that, I started on my next one. And for anybody that loves a good space opera, mill sci-fi, I'm about 5 chapters in right now on Outsystem by M.D. Cooper. And you're not going to be disappointed in this. It's got action. It sucks you in. You're feeling compelled with the character. She writes a damn good story. This is the first one of hers that I've checked out, and she's got like 100 novels out or something like that. I mean, she's a machine. But you will not be disappointed in this one. Like I said, I'm only 5 chapters in, so I don't know where the story's going yet, but I'm enjoying it. Lots of good twists and turns. You're getting into the political realm of the universe and the setting. Um, I don't know how long this has been out, so I don't want to give away too much. I don't know when it was originally released. Okay, this was out in 27. Oh no. Audio out in 2017. Originally released in 2010. Okay, so Mao's been writing for a while. Um, yeah, I mean, if you want action, you want suspense, you want fic, space opera fic, this is for you. You won't be disappointed, at least so far as I'm concerned, because I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Oh wait, that's right, the second part. So author voice. You know, stop. There we go. Buttons. Um, Now, we were having a discussion on the Corner Scribblers meeting last night about author voice and how you build it and how you find it. And there's no formula for it. Everybody has to find their own style, their own pattern. And we all start in one little location, and it usually comes from whatever's influencing us. So a lot of my early stuff sounded a lot like Howard and Lovecraft, because that's what I read a lot of once I found out about it. I was like, oh my God, and I devoured it. So my storytelling was similar to that. Now you add in Lovecraft, you add in a lot of dry prose. So I had to get rid of that in my style and learn more of a modern telling for the storytelling. And one thing that I've been really enjoying has been the Joe Ledger series by Jonathan Mayberry. And he tells a damn good story, and it's fast paced. I mean, you read the book itself, and you can see where it's like, here's your pacing because of the way he's got it spaced out, and it's beautiful. So just by reading and looking at how he structured his work, I'm learning how to build my author voice and get that pacing. I know I've talked about, I found the men's action fiction here recently. I didn't really understand that was a thing. Was it The Executioner? Crap, I can't remember the name. Hold on. The book. Mac Bolan. So, I found this. I paid like a nickel or a dime or something for it at McKay's. And this reads like an A-Team episode. It's just so freaking quick, fast paced. I mean, it gets there's a little bit, well, not really lovey dovey, but this is the men's version of Harlequin. It's honestly addictive, I think, because it moves, it doesn't stop, it doesn't give you any more detail than you need. It's just enough so you know what's going on, you can see and picture everything, and then we're moving on to blowing shit up and killing the bad guys and, well, getting the girl. But that's what this shit is. That's exactly what this is. It's men's action adventure fiction. Howard had this market cornered back in the day. He was doing the heroic tales. It's men's fiction. The guys win by brute force. They're cunning. They get the chick. They go have a drink with their buddies at the bar. Men's fiction. So, following those kind of stylings, that's what has been fueling a lot of my style and working it up to where, I'm getting comments of action-packed, fast-paced, couldn't put it down, page turner on the latest Burning Roads, the first book in the Car Warrior series. So you can tell where my influence comes from. So depending on what you love to write, read a lot, but don't just read in that genre. Pick up other things. I've been picking up mysteries. I've been picking up horror, suspense, romance, westerns, to see what elements I can incorporate into my voice that make it that much better. Don't limit yourself to one little chunk. Yeah, I'm loving Joe Ledger too. I wish it was showing. I still don't know why it doesn't do it. This is annoying as hell. It's not feeding through any of the comments. I end up copying whatever author I'm reading, so I don't read while writing. Otherwise, might end up writing first person when I should be writing third. Okay, that's fair. Now, I missed out on about 15 years worth of enjoyment reading because of something like that, Jenny. That was J.F. Posthumous. When I was writing on Wards of a Warrior, my very first attempt at a novel, that I will get back to here soon, I found that I was, whether accidentally or subconsciously writing, or I mean, it could have been complete coincidence. I was writing scenes and using terminology and things that I was finding that had been in The Wheel of Time, like the breaking of the world and things like that. Well, I stopped reading entertainment reading because I didn't want to copy somebody else's on accident. Um, I wish I hadn't. Don't stop reading for enjoyment. Be mindful when you write and when you edit back through. But don't stop reading, because you're going to learn and be able to create better works by absorbing what you're influenced by. Now, that 15 years was absolutely influenced by all the research reading that I did. I mean, I picked up anything historical, anything mythology, crafts, how to's, blacksmithing, woodworking, the Foxfire books. So I was still reading, but it was an enjoyment reading that fed the muse and fed me style. It was just information to feed me knowledge. So don't stop reading. Now I can understand if you're right there where you're working on that one particular story, Jenny, and it influences you. Then yeah, okay, I get it. Um, Everyone is influenced by someone or something. Yeah, and it all comes back down to there's only 7 stories in the world. We're all retelling these same 7 stories. We're just changing the window dressing out on the thing. Um, it's how we set it up, how we execute it. It makes it different. So, dig into things. Find those books that you are devouring and you don't want to put down. Well, something about that is really hooking you. Find out what. What is it that hooks you? Is it the storytelling style? Is it the dialogue? Is it the characters? Okay, well, now take that little chunk once you figure it out and bring it over and emulate it. I tried reading while writing. I always end up copying the author's style, so I read when not writing. Okay, that's fair. Um, but just like I said, Jonathan Mayberry, the Joe Ledger stuff. I mean, his pacing and his style of storytelling just by the written word alone, nothing to do with the narration, but it's the way that he spaces out the lines and the things going on that determines the pace of that scene. So that's something absolutely, yeah. I'm taking that there and bringing it over here. Giving just enough detail to where you can see and smell and touch and feel and be right there, but it's not so much that it's an Anne Rice 2 pages to describe a damn chair. Or God love him, David. Nothing against you, man. Love your writing. I'll skip past your physics lessons because that's a brain dump, and my eyes glaze over, so I'll move on to the next thing. Just not my bag. Not everybody though. I mean, some people love that, but that's all part of finding your voice. Find those things that you like. Now, till you're reading Dritz novels and writing sci-fi, now that could be a problem. And part of finding that voice too is deciding what you're doing with it. If you're going to self-publish it, well, you can do whatever the hell you want at that point. If you're going to submit it to a specific publishing company, well, you're going to have to see what they're publishing. So read the stuff that they're putting out so you have an idea of what they're looking for and how they're looking for it. If you're going to submit it to multiples, then okay, go with kind of industry standard, but still have your voice heavy in it. Um, and sorry, Maya, I love you, but don't ever let an editor edit out your voice. You can get such a thing as it's not your work anymore; it's the editor's work. I think Tor had a problem with that for a long while, to where a lot of stuff was getting edited out, and it became the editor's voice, not the author's anymore. And that's another thing I don't quite understand. I do, to a point where the editors will totally rework a story. Um, you shouldn't plug up the creative well. No, you shouldn't plug up the creative well. Um, I've heard from others where they're a little upper echelon, and they're getting edits back like, well, the editor wants me to change this and this and this. I don't get it. It's like, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to change it because it's a contract. Well, that's part of paying the piper. You want to be with one of the big publishers, they're going to tell you what to write and how to write. So that's another thing of finding your way on your writer's journey and finding your voice. Yeah. Maya says also a reason to be careful using things like Pro Writing Aid. Um, Jenny says, I think my voice shifted between urban fantasy and sci-fi at least a little. I think it did a little. I think you had a little bit of a growth spot in there. You're fixed to have another growth spot if I understand the edits correctly. As soon as he gets them done. Something's got my nose itching. No, but I've talked to some of these other authors that I know that are a little higher up, and they get edits back, and it's like, okay, this entire scene gets chopped, and you got to rewrite this other scene now, and we want it like this. Okay, and I get it to a point. I mean, if it's not flowing and if it's not marketable because something's missing, I've marked that up a few times on a couple of different people. Falciani, I made him take out a sex scene because it's or it's epic fantasy. It doesn't belong there. The lead up, fine. Posthumous. They needed more action in this last bit. It's like, okay, you got to write a little bit more action in here, but it was missing that, and it wasn't really taking away or rewriting. It was like, hey, add a little bit here, or do a tweak there. So I understand a bit of it, but when it's rewriting a good portion of a manuscript, it just doesn't make sense to me. Oh, the word witch. um, that's why contracts suck. Yeah, and you got to watch your contracts if you're going to go with some of these bigger guys. Any publishing company you go to. I mean, if you're wanting to go with us over Three Ravens, look at the contract, word by word, line by line. Make sure you're good with it. Understand what it means. If you got any questions, ask them. If they won't give or won't bother to explain what a line means, well, maybe you need to be looking someplace else. Because we've already seen where a lot of people in the upper end they got fucked over. I mean, the big boys didn't pay them a lot of royalties they were owed. Didn't even tell them that they should have been getting these other royalties. There was no contract for audio. Um, really read over your contracts and revisit them every so often. Statute of limitations, if I remember right, was 7 years, I think, wasn't it, Maya? Yeah, ended up adding 20K to the sci-fi because it needed it. I was told it reads smoother now, and sometimes that's what it is. So far in the Car War stuff, we hadn't had too much. I mean, there was one thing in one of the anthology stories. It's like, yeah, no, that's got to go away because it was just that's no bueno. No, we can't play there. And I understand the part of the storytelling, but because of what it is, it doesn't work. But it was just a minor thing. It wasn't like reworking the entire damn story. But yeah, read, absorb. Yes, edits are supposed to make the story better to improve it. Find those things that help to add to and make your storytelling better, make your style better. You know, you have to monitor the contracts and make sure the publisher is holding to their part of it. They will not do it for you. Okay, true. Um, as a publisher, I understand one part of that. We're busy. We're really busy. So keep up on your stuff. Now, I do set notices and reminders and things like that. Hopefully, they'll work when it comes time for renewals and things. Um, but, but yeah, um, I don't know. We got 5 or 6 people on here. It's all better. Not sure how long our friend was having issues, but it's all better now. Okay. Um, yeah, I can't think of anything else. I mean, it's your journey to figure out. Nobody can tell you how to do it. There is no formula. Well, not when it comes to writing your voice or finding your voice. Writing a style and writing the genre, yeah, there's formulas. Look at romance. It's absolutely formulaic. Um, most of the thriller novels out there, they're formulaic, and it's just a constant. Hey, we're doing this over and over and over and over. But when it comes down to finding your voice, there's no formula to it. You just got to find what works for you in your storytelling style and what people are enjoying. So don't get disheartened. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes years of work. There are no overnight successes. I mean, most overnight successes, they've been at it for about 10 years at least, trying their hardest, and that's why I can't write typical romance, can't follow a formula. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so wow, actually we're ran a little bit long today. Um, so yeah, I got my latest post up, a little extra details, a couple other links. Go check out the Kickstarter. Where is it? We're doing good on that, by the way. We're there. Um, we crossed over the 5,000 mark, so the lead tuckerization is now open for business. In the add-ons, so you could be a lead character in a Car War story if you wanted to, and it just keeps trucking on and on and on and on. It's cool. I'm learning a lot on this. So till next time, y'all. Look, I got the buttons ready. Y'all take it easy. We'll catch you later.
There is a thin wall between our world and that of the Fae. The passions and emotions stirred by violence and combat bleed over, and the supernatural often awakes from long slumber to meddle in mortal affairs. There have always been those among us willing to meet the supernatural threat. They are the men and women of Joint Task Force 13. They hold the line between heaven and hell. JTF 13 from Three Ravens Publishing.